Welcome to LOL, Leading Out Loud, a spiritual talk show that takes a look at the shift show we call life from a spiritual perspective. On the round table tonight, our Motley mystical crew, speaking on behalf of the angels in heaven, angel communicator Devon Duerr. Communicating with the dead, psychic medium Scott Cruz. Working with the power of the occult, Tarot Master Chris Reck. And I'll be playing the voice of the planet's psychic astrologer, Christopher Witecki. And for those that are live chats, let everyone know what your astrology sign is and where you're watching from in this world. We'll be watching our comments for suggestions and tips on how to improve. So please keep the suggestions coming. We're going to roll right into the energy, folks. I have to say it has been a shift show. Let's do our spiritual surf report. I'm currently in Texas, by the way. Blinking in and out of my existence behind me is a Best Western Hotel, which is my normal MO, but not in Texas. And energetically, we are broadcasting live from a very intense spot right now. I mean, over the last week, if you don't know, this is probably the most fertile month of the decade as far as manifestation is concerned. And I just want to say, like, going into this last week, we had Neptune go to 29 degrees Pisces. And I don't know about you guys and your clients. This is my first question for you. I saw a ton of breakdowns once Neptune hit 29 degrees.
Cut.
Well,
A lot of shit like that happening. And I think with the energy of Taurus, it was sort of like a final call from spirit to get your shift together. And I saw instant kind of karma manifesting. Did you all have anything like that breaking down the energy last week?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot for, a lot of my clients too have been feeling that kind of breakdown. And I always say it's going to be a lot of movement in May, right? So I've been repetitive about that. And so get your X-axis together. There's also been a lot of that purge, that in the digestive system. And so I've been feeling a lot of people having that on the health front too, making a lot of physical movements. But I think it's just a sign of the times too. But, a lot of people have been questioning themselves too. I think those who have been doing the work, they've been questioning themselves whether they're on the right path. And so there's been a lot of that kind of, like I said, fragmentation of overly questioning where you're at. And those who have been moving forward and feeling kind of tired and sluggish. How many of you guys have been feeling kind of sluggish this week too?
I could barely stand up.
Right?
I've seen a lot of people have blind spots to things they thought they had addressed, things that they had already faced. And it was just this blind spot that came out of nowhere. And like you said, Scott, I was seeing a lot of people with health stuff, but also just the most random things, the things that people thought they were bulletproof to, coming in out of nowhere.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of curiosity as well, like, people being curious about new ideas. And it came up a lot for me this week. So, I think it's a good time for committing to new ideas, committing to learning something new. So I haven't had any breakdowns, knock on wood. So we're good.
I've seen a lot of breakdowns, though. I mean, a lot of technology breakdowns, equipment breakdowns. I'm currently in Texas because I'm attending a human garage event. Their truck broke down on the way to the airport. So a lot of tech shift happening. What the astrology says is that we're sort of on our last call. You don't have to go home, but you're not staying here, says Neptune at 29 degrees. You can no longer continue on a certain karmic path. And I think the universe will slap you upside the head with a 2x4. You can tell I'm in Texas if you don't pay attention to it. And we had a new moon last week in Taurus. So we were sort of planting those new intentions for what we want to manifest. And I feel like Neptune at Pisces was sort of squeezing out any last shadow or fear or anything that you had left in your system to go forward with that new narrative. Is what I felt. So today, as we're recording, I mean, we were having a shift show of laughter backstage because the sun's on Uranus today. So today, the universe is trying to stretch our perspective of how we see the world. We also have Venus sextiling Saturn. So at the same time, we're getting this push today to really take responsibility for your shift, basically. So this is pressure building this week. And one thing that happens as we go to Wednesdays, the sun will trine Black Moon Lilith, which basically means that we have to face any kind of last minute fears we have of collapse. So this is literally a launch week, and it ends this weekend with some major astrology. But before I talk about the astrology, what do you guys pick up as far as advice is concerned for our viewers over the course of the week? Let's go to Scott first.
Yeah, I mean, for the week again, like it's really about. I would say, in my perspective, is kind of letting the purge happen. Letting the release happen, and letting things kind of come out that need to be. That you've been trying to digest on, letting it go, letting it flow easily. I would say a lot of this weekend will be a lot of trepidation of maybe past fears resurrecting too, and getting over those little fears that have been holding you back. And I say it's really about not so much letting go as is releasing. And so if you're focusing on releasing this week into next, the weekend to come and into next week, I think you'll find a lot more movement in that sense too, because we're still moving. And I would say it's like a roller coaster. If you're bracing yourself for that move, you're going to feel a lot of that anxiety. But if you go with the ride, you'll enjoy the momentum of the ups and the downs. So allow yourself to be focused on the releasing aspects. And both, my digestive system is focusing on that too. So,
I know I had jokes the whole time that I kept holding them in, but thank you for bringing my pubescent self out.
But I say that because a couple of my clients have also been feeling that internal need to release and so forth. So I think the physical body is a great reflection of what's going on energetically. Devon, what do the angels say about that?
Well, the angels keep bringing up the way many of us have recently had to face problems we've been pretending were not a problem. So what is the first thing that came to mind for you? There's something you were kind of turning a blind eye to. Like I said, that blind spot energy. And Scott, they were definitely affirming what you were saying. That new moon felt a lot more like a full moon to me, like a release of things. And I've been tracking moon energy for a long time. And I had a little bit of a blind spot with that energy. And so the angels are talking about that now that you've had to face that issue, it's time to head in a new direction. So you know what that is for you. And this could be either taking a relationship to a person to a new level or changing that relationship, but it could also be a project or your health, as Scott was saying. And it may mean that we have to just pivot completely, try something new. What Reck was saying earlier about the curiosity, that's a big piece of guidance here. Many of us are really bored with certain situations, relationships, or projects. So the guidance here is to learn everything you can about a topic or travel, do something that's going to allow you to really review your truth and just activate that giving and receiving cycle. That's also a great tip from the angels here is to just remember to get into that place of gratitude, accept help from others if you need it, if there's too much going on. And ultimately, you will see better health in every area of your life, the health, the finances, and the relationships when you learn to pivot when something's not working. And they gave me a key word for this week. It was opportunity. So look for hidden opportunities to release what's no longer serving you. If your heart gets excited about something, check in with your intuition, ask your spiritual team for a loud and clear sign. And before I toss to Reck, I just want to also offer up, if you'd like to, in the comments right now, put in this pocket affirmation, I am open to receiving divine gifts, because that is one of the things we have to do. We have to open up to these opportunities that they gave us a keyword. I am open to receiving divine gifts. You can put it in the comments here in the live chat or later when you're watching this. But I can't wait to hear what Reck got for this week, because it's a big week.
Well, maybe you should wait. But I was going to say, I will say, let it burn and set yourself.
Oh my God!
Oh gosh!
We have this is everything Scott said, basically right here. So, I think that we are all kind of like shedding things in our life. Tower is about seeing reality, accepting reality as it is. Ooh. And the Chariot is really a card of setting yourself apart. He's leaving, what he has always known behind him here on this card. So he's completely setting himself apart, but he is in alignment. So, even if you're having a Tower moment or you're seeing Tower moments, as long as you stay in alignment with the Chariot, you'll be fine. But I think everyone's moving in new directions here with these cards. Pretty simple.
The astrology says the same. I mean, the astrology says we're basically carving out this week really what it is your heart wants to manifest. And I guess you can say the sad thing is that if you are unaware that this is such a consciously fertile week, anyone who's like a drama king is going to over manifest drama. People who are going to manifest viruses could manifest out of control. Infections could manifest out of control. Like it's everything can grow really intensely. And what the astrology says is you want to commit to what you intend to manifest, which really is committing to what you don't want to manifest, because it's so fertile. You want to say, I don't want this again. I don't want that again. Basically saying no to your old karma, Neptune at 29. That's around Thursday. And then Friday, it shows that things launch. And over the weekend, this is the weekend of Unite the Light. I want to talk about it in a minute here, but astrologically, what happens this weekend, the reason why we planted for this weekend is because on Saturday, the sun conjuncts Jupiter at 28 degrees. That is the most fertile. I cannot think of a more fertile manifestation astrology aspect in my entire life. The 28 degree is the highest Taurus, and Jupiter is as big as it gets. So we're talking about one hell of an Angus steak here. This thing's going to come in a pickup truck and be delivered. This is how big of a bull manifest. And on the same day, Venus conjoins Uranus, which the sun is conjoining today, which basically means this weekend, whatever it is that you have committed to on Thursday, Friday, it sort of slingshots into the stratosphere of manifestation. So it's sort of like buckle up, we're on for the ride. What do you all intuit from your perspective about this weekend? The astrology says it's just, gold, but what do you just sort of feel? What advice can you give our viewers?
It's kind of like, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I think people need to move towards their momentum, and create more momentum. Chariot, Eight of Wands are both cards of momentum. So like whatever is easy, keep letting it be easy. Double down on the easy stuff, as I always say, and keep doing the things that increase speed. I would remove as much friction as you possibly can and dream big. Knight of Cups, the dreamer, and I think people need to kind of create a dream at this time. Scott.
Yeah, I definitely, my word for this week would be expression. I think everyone should be focusing on self-expression, and expressing things you've been trying to express for a long time or things you haven't been expressing. So I think this week should be about the success, like Chris was saying, of expression. And I think that you'll really find your voice and you'll find your newfound passions or the continuation of passions that you've been building and planting seeds on. So focus on expression. And if you're conscious of this, you'll know the things you shouldn't be doing, the words you shouldn't be saying, and the people you shouldn't be seeing, and you'll put yourself in better environments and thus expressing the fun and joy that you're meant to experience, as well as the creativity you're meant to project as well. Devon?
I just want to inject real quick before Devon that the Venus Uranus 23 is expression, like Devon.
Okay.
Yeah, Devon.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. The angels agree. It's really about getting out there and following what your heart wants. You're not going to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. You're not going to be able to take advantage of expressing yourself if you're sitting at home binge watching Netflix. So if you get an invite to go have coffee with a friend or go for a walk with a neighbor, of course, always check in with your intuition, but these are going to be these loud and clear signs that we can ask our spiritual team for. So just remember, send me loud and clear signs, team. And that way you'll know where the opportunities are. And this is just going to be such an amazing energy to take advantage of it. It's going to be hard to miss those signs. Don't you think, Christopher?
For me, the sign is usually I'm pulled off at the side of the road. There's a flat tire. Lightning strikes me. God has to jack slap me upside the head usually for stuff. But and we're all going to be together this weekend. So this is a good segue to Unite the Light. We're super excited. We're going to be presenting. First of all, if you all don't know, you can get streaming tickets for this and be a part of it. It's 2 days of show and tell on Saturday, panel discussions on Sunday. Each of us has a presentation. And it's going to be streaming is available at unitethelight.love if you want to buy a streaming ticket and be a part of it, because it'll be sort of a webinar. So everyone who's watching can all chat with one another, and there'll be interaction, and there'll also be interviews backstage and stuff like that. But I want to give a moment for you all to pitch. What are you presenting on this weekend? I will just pick Reck.
I am going to be talking about how you are only 6 steps or less away from making your dent on social media. So I will be sharing all my tips and tricks, everything, all condensed, the condensed juice of YouTube. The 10 years I've been on YouTube, over 20,000 pieces of content across all social media. So everything that I've learned from that is going into this presentation, and that's what I'm talking about.
20,000. You know, you trumped me. Damn it.
Yeah,
I'm actually.
Damn it.
Can
Go
I
ahead.
go? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't hear. I'm actually going to be presenting about evolving the craft, and basically about how we should be taking things a step further when it comes to psychics, mediumships, healers, everyone working in the spiritual communities. That it's time to evolve our craft in ways that we should be more knowledgeable in other aspects of spirituality. So I'm going to dive in deep into that and what we can do to expand our craft, because psychics and mediums are becoming the new therapists, and the healers becoming the new like health advisors. So we have a lot of responsibility in that area that we need to expand. So I'll be talking about evolving the craft in that sense.
Devon?
Yeah. Well, I'm leading a panel with 2 other lovely ladies, Gina Schatz and Krista Marie Miller. We are talking about the topic collaborating with heaven. We are all here together because we have spiritual gifts. We're intuitive, but sometimes we feel overwhelmed and we forget to realize we've got all these help available to us to bring us the resources we need. So I'm super excited about Chris, Reck, and Scott's topic, and yours too, Christopher, everybody there. And we're going to be learning so much from you. And I know personally from working with people one-on-one with their learning to connect with their angels and everything, that they forget they have this team right now available to help them get going on social media, find the right people to collaborate with. So it's not just about collaborating with other light workers, although that is a huge, huge part of this event. We're so excited about, we're promoting each other as light workers, but also don't forget, you get to collaborate with your spiritual team in every step. And Christopher, what about you? What are you talking about?
Well, I'm actually going to sort of lay out, I think, the timeline. Pluto's in Aquarius, and it's my opinion that the light work industry and spiritual healing arts are going to just explode over the next decade. So I'm going to be talking about conscious capitalism and how I feel like we're going to end up moving down a path of self-realization, and that really it's time for hundreds, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people to get into this profession, because I feel like this is the new greatest thing since sliced bread. It's helping your other human beings. When robots are picking fruit and we no longer have to compete necessarily for the standard economic competition, which I think is right around the corner, the best thing to do is going to be improve yourself spiritually or tie into the matrix. We'll be talking about that a little bit later with Elon Musk. So I'll be doing that. And then on Sunday, I'm doing a conscious capitalism. I'm in a couple of things. I'm showing up a lot here. I've casted myself. I have my own panel about conscious capitalism, talking about business models and how we can make money. And I'm on Chris's Reck Tech panel. Chris, what are we talking about there?
We are talking about AI tools, and using AI tools and other technology as well for social media.
Brilliant. Well, we do have a little promo here with some of the other speakers. Can we roll tape, Adam?
Yeah.
All right, let's play it again. No, I'm kidding.
In reverse.
Again, Dad, again.
Not mind
All
it
right.
for you.
So yeah, it'll be live this weekend. I'm really excited. I'm excited to hang out with you guys in person. We'll take some selfies. We'll put them on our social media and show that we are real and not AI bots.
Yeah, and that we have legs too.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah,
Of course, so yeah.
So unitethelight.love if you want to be a part of that. We'd love to have you there. We will not be on the air, by the way, next Monday, just to put it out there. I'll remind you at the end of the show as well, because we'll be recuperating from our amazing light. So that moves on now to our hot topic, who's going to be headed off today by Mr. Reck. Scott, what do you got for us?
Scott, Chris, same name.
Oh, Chris.
Anyway,
Chris Reck, Scott,
Chris Reck,
Cruz.
Come
Sorry.
on.
I was like,
I am the afterthought.
Sorry,
here.
I'm confusing the men.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
So, the Wall Street Journal wants to steal your breakfast. It says, to save money, maybe you should skip breakfast. The several breakfast staples saw sharp price increases due to perfect storm of bad weather and disease outbreaks, including the wars as well. So my question to everyone is, when are they going to take away dinner? And, are we going to be able to eat lunch, basically? This seems to be their solution is, to just instead of helping people make more money, they want to take all our money away or make us skip breakfast. So I'm going to go to Scott, actually. I'll start with Scott tonight because we said Scott.
Yes, that's really what was meant to be here.
Yeah.
That was my guides.
Right. I don't think necessarily they're doing it to take away, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It's kind of them saying this whole crisis with inflation is your fault. And so just don't eat. It's not really giving any type of productive advice. So I think it's more like a mind control, kind of like responsibility dumping, saying, well, there's things that you can do on your everyday life. Just don't eat breakfast. And so I think it's more in that sense of covering up the fact that they've destroyed our economy and just kind of blaming it on the fellow folk who pay them. So I don't necessarily see that would be the case as far as taking away any type of meal plans or any of that nature, as much as they're trying to evolve into, or synthetic meats and such. We'll get into a little later too. I just think it's more to help people to be more typical about why we have inflation. What you can do to save money, just don't eat breakfast. So I think it's a cop out, that excuse for advice. Devon, what do you think?
Well, the angels keep talking about the risk of self-fulfilling prophecies with these types of headlines and everything. And they're also mentioning what Chris Reck said at the beginning of the show about curiosity. Like, this is where the change will come from you, not from the government. You need to stand up for what your beliefs are. If that means learning how to have gardening in a small space, or researching those officials we could try to get elected that are going to focus on this type of thing. So yeah, it's not going to change overnight, but a lot of this is fear tactics trying to keep you stricken and reliant on them. So take your power back, learn how to grow, join a community. Now, of course, that's not something that's going to put food on your plate tonight with these expensive things, but they just don't want us getting caught up in that mindset, as you said, Scott, of, oh my gosh, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Or, hey, government, come save me. They want us to really take our power back from this and not get into a place of expecting the worst. What about you, Christopher?
Well, first of all, the astrology shows that economy is going to change. I think ultimately there are bad players here. Bad players meaning that we have, and the article talked about, there's a consolidation of suppliers. Like, it's like Kellogg's, right? Like, it's only one or two breakfast providers out there. So we have this consolidation of corporate America. What's funny is, I think it's called a breakfast because you're supposed to break a fast. So right? So ultimately we started not eating our breakfast, and then we got talked into eating cereal, I think, to stimulate the economy and sell milk, because they wanted to sell milk in the 50s and 60s and sell cheese. So we got pushed into eating breakfast. We all became extremely obese anyways. So although I think this is corrupt in the sense that they're trying to squeeze more out of us, in a weird way, it may be more healthy, like, for us actually to eat a little bit less or to eat less processed food. So ironically, I feel like there's bad intentions there. However, I think it will misfire or backfire on us. But I do feel like there's this stretch to sort of, to get more, basically we're all being stretched. The top corporations are all reporting profits, right? So we know that they're making enough to cover costs. So it's clearly gouging here and squeezing us.
Well, I mean, I just want to piggyback before we go to Chris too. I know we're out of context, but there's like 2 companies or 5 companies that own all the other commercial companies. So I think the last people we should be taking advice on nutrition on are these companies. So I think for me, this is a precipice of, let me decide what I'm going to do. Breakfast is important for me, by the way. So I'm not going to say, being healthier means to not eat breakfast. We should be focusing on our own nutrition, take responsibility for ourselves, not letting some corporation dictate to us when we should eat, what we shouldn't eat, when we shouldn't eat, and all that stuff, when they run most of the crappier food companies in our planet. So I think it's time for us to take heed on our own nutritional advice. But Chris, what do the cards say? What do you think about the climate here with that?
I feel nothing here. I mean, I actually always used to not eat breakfast in the first place.
Yeah.
And now I skip dinner now. So I do skip a meal every single day anyway. So it doesn't bother me at all.
Right.
But I actually don't think this is going to be that much of an issue. And I do like Christopher. I mean, I've been talking about this forever too, that I think money is changing and money will change. So it's like a non-issue. I think that things are not going to go how people think they are with like the, economy or a collapse or something like that. I think it's going to be people taking their power back. The world is the whole entire world. So I think that as a people, we're just going to start saying, why do I have to listen to Joe Biden tell me to eat, vanilla chocolate chip ice cream? I want to eat fish food. That's what I want to eat.
Right. I want my mind. I want to preserve my mind. I want to be able to form a sentence. So I need some fish and healthier fats, please.
Exactly.
So we're taking.
Sorry.
I would say we're taking advice from people who are like a doctor has a pot belly telling you how healthy you should be. And it's like, let's start leading. We need to start leading by example too. But guys, like those of us who are in the spiritual communities and healing communities, we need to start leading that.
That's like the big thing right there is leading by example, being an inspiration to other people. I think that's a big.
I'm assuming that's where Devon was going to go, right?
Well, I was going to say it's the reason for this show right here is, that we all have these intuitive abilities. Every single person watching this video was born with intuitive abilities, psychic abilities, telepathic abilities. Okay. But we've been conditioned that we don't have them or not to trust them. And then here we have this very physical example here that we're being told not to eat breakfast when we're hungry or not to do certain things with our food when our body's telling us, you know what, I didn't even really want cereal in the first place. I was told breakfast is the most important meal of the day, right? I mean, so it's so interesting how this is just layers and layers and layers of societal conditioning. And what we're trying to talk here about the show about is like breaking that down and trusting your intuition first.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, I mean, now I want to go deeper in the conspiracy. It's like, what about the food pyramid that we were taught growing up?
Right.
And like,
Right.
I'm starting to, I honestly stopped eating one meal a day just to lose weight because I ballooned up. When I came out of my whole situation, I started eating 3 meals a day. I started ballooning up. I personally feel much better on 2 meals a day, honestly, and smaller portions. And at first you're a little hungry at first, but then your stomach gets used to it. But I kind of feel like we're sort of taking the entire narrative of our health back. Like that we actually know our body better than anyone else knows our body. And I'm finding that anytime any professional tells me this is what will make you healthy, I immediately tune in with my psychic awareness and go, really? Is that the way it is for me? I question it.
But we also have to be very conscious of the type of foods, because it's not so much the quantity, it's the quality of foods. And people fail to realize like the oils that we're consuming within our foods, the oils that we're frying things in, the seed oils that we're using, they're really bad for us and cause inflammation. That causes an insane amount of weight gain. So we have to have the knowledge and education and discernment about the foods that we're consuming. Not so much, we're so focused on losing the weight. A lot of people are skinny, but they're internally bloated. And so we have to be understanding about the whole foods that we're eating, the nutrition that we need. I always say the body is like chemistry. You might be saying, I'm eating healthy, but that chemistry might not work for you. So having discernment, being intuitive in that approach is going to help us have more discernment what to eat and what we're choosing, and having the knowledge about what you're consuming, what those chemicals are in your foods. Because you might be saying, I'm eating everything healthy, but you have that one food, that chemical. You don't know if that chemical is causing massive inflammation and gut, issues and so forth. So I think it's time for us to be educated about what we're actually eating and consuming, not so much the quantity, even though that's important. It's the quality that people are not focusing on as of late. I think it's important.
Scott or Chris?
I was going to say, the only thing I was going to say is just go look at how fat I used to be on my channel. I mean, I gained a ton of weight, and just 2 meals a day, cutting it all the crap out, it's helped a lot.
Yeah.
That's it. My fat.
And I want to say this.
Me being fat. That's it.
Yeah.
And I want to say this too. My parents, my dad is 71 years old. My mom is 65 years old, and they've been doing health nutrition their whole lives. So I was raised into this. And so they have not been on one medication their whole lives.
Wow.
And they
really?
They hike the mountain every day, and they're always physically fit. And so my mom recently, like last year, got bit by a rattlesnake, and she goes, the last time I was in the hospital was when I gave birth to this one 42 years ago. So
wow.
So they practice, they preach, and I was raised into that. So I understand how it is to be very conscious of your foods and what you're consuming.
Why haven't you told me this story about the rattlesnake? I feel like we're not friends. We're like not friends anymore. That's
I'm a slow burner, Chris.
Come on. You always hold out on me.
His lizard can get together with your snake. It's so reptilian. What's interesting is I was thinking the other day, because Pluto is coming to its return in Capricorn. So the United States is basically 1 Pluto year old. And what I find fascinating is here we are a full Pluto year older, and we're almost going back to an agricultural society because we can't trust the food that's coming off the trucks or the corporate farms. Right. And I've seen a lot of like different plans out there for organized communities, like alternative communities. And every plan is based on agriculture. Because they all want to separate from the food supply, because they all feel like you can't trust it. Like with the peel and other things, we really just don't. I literally psychically have to do like the test in the grocery store sometimes. Like, does my body want this or not? Is there something hidden here?
Yeah. Totally. You guys, everyone should practice that. Say, what does my body need? Right? Because sometimes we go based on what we think that we want. And so if we just, like you said, Christopher, doing that kind of test and saying, do I need this? What I feel like what I resonate with right now, then you'll have a complete different approach to what you'll find satiating.
And it's interesting too, because this is one of those things that's not very political. I mean, they're always going to try to politicize everything, right? But
100%.
it doesn't really matter what side of the aisle you're on when it comes to nutrition. And people are starting to wake up to this stuff that has been put in our foods, the things that are not real, the way it's making us feel. And now it's kind of like, okay, how do we get control of their mindset, of the population's mindset, when we can't make them eat the things we want them to eat? And so it's a good opportunity here to take your power back. Like you were saying, Chris, Reck, I mean, once you get that mindset that I'm going to listen to my body and say, what do I want? The sky's the limit. I mean, I've done similar things with fasting programs and stuff too. And, you know, a lot of people will eat what you would normally eat for dinner for breakfast and then skip dinner, like you said, and they love it because we're all different, just like we're all different with our spiritual gifts.
Well, I have a psychic roundtable for everyone, and that is, you know, right now, I mean, one thing I've noticed is it seems like our government agencies have been captured by corporations. And so we have these mega monopolies that are owning all the food supply. Do you and your psychic senses see into the future as to whether or not we're ever going to come back into a clean relationship between government and commerce or big business? Do you see us returning to the form we were in, or do you see it getting more corrupt and us having to go indie?
I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, personally. So I think we have a long haul with that, but we will always have our individualism to do what we please to keep ourselves healthy. So I think we'll always have that, but it's going to get a lot more manufactured than we believe. So I get prepared for that. So
really more? You mean
more
like the fake meat and stuff? Oh my God.
I mean, they're talking about lab-grown meat. That's pretty manufactured. I just saw
they're talking about printed meat.
There was a scientist. She's talking about working on, a plastic edible ice cream. Like, who's paying this chick to do edible ice cream out of plastic? I mean, so they're working on the most craziest things right now, and I don't know who's funding them. I wish I'm in the wrong business. Clearly, she's making that much money doing that. I'll be making Play-Doh meat, and maybe I should make some funds out of that. But
it's Play-Doh meat,
right? Right.
We're kids.
It's going to become more manufactured, but as long as we keep our discernment, though, and we understand what's going on, we can maneuver around it and still find our health. So we'll have the accessibilities. Angel. I was going to call Devon. Angel, what does Devon think? Devon, what does the angels think?
Devon girl.
Devon, what did the angels say?
Oh, well, I mean, just that the angels are talking, they've been doing this to us for years already, though. I mean, I know it sounds crazy that they're 3D printing food, but they've been injecting fake stuff into our food since the 50s. So we have been eating, printed food, and it's just called something different. And this is actually us waking up to it. Sorry, Christopher, what'd you say?
Yes, I said hallelujah. Yes.
Somebody's
hallelujah.
Well, yeah. And so anyways, that's all the angels are saying is like you said, Scott, about it getting worse before it gets better. But the good news is we've already been waking up to this. So it's not, it's almost like we're at that point now where there will be a lot of fallout from that. And there will be people who will fall for the 3D printed food for a while there. But a big part of the population they're showing me has woken up to this. What about you, Chris Reck?
Yeah, I think corporatism is like going nowhere fast, but I think that this is a good thing, not a bad thing. So I think that people are going to choose themselves. So I think I think that these people, the corporations and everything, they're going to try to hold on tight. They're not going to try to release control or anything. But I think people are making better choices. They're they're just listening to themselves with the Two of Cups, and so I think eventually we're just going to choke them out with our food.
You know what? I agree with that actually, because I was going to say there's a lot more like little mom and pop shop companies that creating a lot more healthier foods. You start to see become on the rise. So I agree with that too. We'll always have our options, but they will continue to be more manufactured for sure for the mainstream. So I agree with Chris on that 100%.
Pringles are 3D printed potato chips. Like those, I saw a documentary on those. Those are just like potato paste, and this show is not sponsored by Pringles. And if you want us to stop revealing truths, we can actually charge you for that. No, I'm kidding. So so we've had 3D printed food for a long time, I think, actually, to point to what Devon had to say. I completely concur. Well, we'll have to actually see how things unfold. I do feel psychically that we are going to mom and pops. The question is, how fast can Bill Gates buy those up? Right?
True.
Because he tends to.
Or push him out. So they might even push him out with some other pandemic or something. Take an opportunity to like push him out through another mass, conspiracy.
Totally.
I'm trying to use my words lightly.
Well, and speaking of a little health, let's switch topics here, freshen up a little bit. I have another news article that's sort of related to health. It's Elon Musk. Elon Musk's brain technology startup Neuralink said Wednesday that an issue cropped up with its first human brain implant weeks after it was inserted into the patient. The company revealed in a blog post that in the weeks following the patient's surgery in January, a number of the implant's connective threads retracted from the brain, causing a reduction in the signals that the device could capture. So this to me is going to be our psychic roulette question, y'all. I'm wondering, is this this Neuralink project going to work? Are we close to linking the brain with technology, or are we farther than it appears? Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Alrighty, I felt that.
Yeah, I think
Me
we're
too.
closer. I think we're pretty close, but I mean, funny enough, you know what always pops into my head with this is Dolly, the sheep. You know, the sheep that was cloned, and you know, all these clones and stuff. They like never work out. So things don't want to be in your body, or your body doesn't want anything inside of it,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
So you know, I think that we're close,
Mhm.
but you know, I still think we have a long way to go. And you know, will we? I don't know if we'll ever actually see something that you know works really well, because Three of Wands is the future, but every time I look at this now, I feel like those ships are getting farther away. So, you know, I kind of question how well this is going to work in the short term, for sure.
All
Scott
right.
or
Um,
Devin,
I-
Devin, Scott.
Make up your mind.
You
Pull a
can't have
card.
it back now.
Both of you go at the same time.
Your brain rejected it, huh? Looks like that
Yeah, it
Neuralink.
And my Neuralink's backing out.
Hey,
Exactly.
Devin, let's do paper, rock, scissors, Devin. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
There
Paper,
you
rock,
go.
scissors. Let's see who goes next. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, she went
see,
scissors.
I
Oh,
think
you
she-
lose.
I bounce
You
it.
lose.
Okay, so
Wait,
I go.
I didn't see what Scott did.
The Rock.
Rock.
Okay, go.
I agree with Chris. I think that, you know, we're farther away from it than we think, than it appears. I do see a lot of that being utilized within people who actually work for Elon Musk in their companies, like the major tech companies. I feel that we implemented for them. They'd be utilizing that more so than the population. So I see major people in tech, working in tech, will be adapting that a lot quicker than the mainstream. And I know they've actually got this one guy, they had the implant in his arm, and he would open up doors and go to special places in the company with that. So they've already kind of begun doing that. So I kind of see a similar trajectory with that, with the Neuralink, with more so the people work in tech, but for the mainstream, it's going to take some time for that to
So
adapt.
wait, I just want to clarify. You see him like planting it into his workforce and creating a whole drone army of
I mean,
worker
if you want to be
bots?
creative about it, sure.
You mean sharks with freaking laser beams on their heads?
Yes.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah, so
interesting.
I think his own employees would be like the sheep, the guinea pigs on it, in a sense.
Ooh, that's quite a.
And they'll be willing to do it. I'll do it. Yeah, sure, you know.
Yeah, well, so far it's not doing it. It's not even changing the channel. Devin?
Right. We're
Well,
talking
the
future.
angels are saying that the current energy is showing that this will eventually have some success, but first there will be a big recall, and there will actually be new vendors and new people involved. There's even been some contemplation of Elon maybe stepping away from a lot of this and letting someone else take the research from there. So that's been discussed behind closed doors, is what they're showing me, because there is like an energy of Elon not wanting this to affect his other missions that he's working on.
Right.
And although it is something that there is, like, just getting people to accept organ donations, right? Like when we first went through learning how to do that, the bodies would often reject someone else's kidney, but eventually through technology, we learned how to work with the body. So exactly what you were saying, Chris, Reck, they were affirming, like, it's kind of arrogant to think that our body would just automatically accept this new technology that's so foreign. So we're also going to be, as we evolve humans, people coming to the planet now are going to be becoming more open to this type of technology. So the answer is yes, it will see success, but we're going to see a big change in the way that it's approached and who's involved with the research.
I know I feel Apple connecting with it too. I don't keep getting Apple connected with it in the future too. Like
Really?
somehow. Yeah, I don't know why. I keep getting that pull with Apple.
Huh. So would you choose an Apple in your brain, or would you choose
I'm talking about the company.
Tesla? No, I'm talking about, so am I.
Oh,
Like,
okay, add more
which
tests in your
chip
brain,
would
yeah.
you go with? Would you get an Android or an Apple brain
Or would you
chip?
go with Trump or Biden? It's the same thing, right? There's two evils. It's the same crap.
Again.
Right.
Yeah.
The interface of
Walmart,
Apple.
Target. It's the same crap.
I myself personally will never do anything like this. I'm not gonna. I don't care. I'm not gonna never say never, but you know, even if life can be extended, I don't know if I will opt for that. You know, I personally don't believe in merging machine with human. I personally believe we have spiritual technology. I think what we're about is the fact that we all four are accessing superpowers that are given to us, and there's a whole pathway to explore in that direction, completely separate from merging with the machine. The astrology shows that it would probably happen when Uranus is in Gemini, which would mean that we're still a ways off yet. Intuitively, what I feel is exactly what Devon said. I psychically feel that the Elon's going to sweep this under the rug. Like from what I've heard through the rumor mill, like monkeys have died. Like this is not working. And at some point, I feel intuitively it's going to turn into bad press. And, we're going to later find out like how hideous the experiments were. That's what I just feel psychically. Like it just feels really kind of gross, sort of like stuff that we write treaties about. That's what it feels like. I have no proof. It's just my psychic awareness. So I personally feel like it's not going to work for a long time.
Right. It's going to take some time. But it is going to happen, though. I'm just saying it's going to be far off in the distant future, though. That's like I feel. Would you? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that the answer is probably curious. Would you? Any of you guys consider getting?
Never.
No.
Hell no.
Me neither.
Yeah, and I agree, Christopher. I think what Christopher said about we are the spiritual technology.
Exactly.
So like we have to use our our powers are way more than they lead us on to believe. So we don't need like AI vision or anything like that.
Well, even in that article that announced it, they said that there is one of the cons is a risk of being hacked. You've got this device in your brain and it gets hacked.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's interesting. I think I'm being hacked right now.
It looks like it.
It looks like I was about to say. Yeah.
What?
Look at that thing.
So true. I am being hacked right now.
Yeah.
Well, looking Elon. So Elon has Jupiter hitting his Saturn coming up here just around the corner, looking at his chart. And the significance of that is perhaps a major shift in direction. When Jupiter hits Saturn, like a complete about face. He's a 5-degree Cancer. So when he changes his mind, the whole world changes. And if you don't believe me, just look at his series of corporations. Like he started with X, and then he moved on to PayPal, and then he moved on to, he really is a moving target. So I don't feel intuitively looking at his astrology that this, he's going to stay focused on this. He's going to move on to the next best thing, which might be the Tesla sex bot next episode.
And Christopher will give his testimonial later.
Yes, later tonight after I get hacked. I got hacked twice. It's fabulous.
Hacked, right.
All right. So time for, looks like a promo. So if you want to hack your consciousness, by the way, this show, if you don't know, this show is sponsored by all four of us here on the screen. Each of us have come together in our corporations to help each other and to be able to introduce each other to one another. My particular company is called Serious Joy, if you're not familiar, seriousjoy.com, where I basically take your date of birth information and I feed you over the course of the day small little micro coaching, basically little text message coaching that just gently, like spiritual braces, starts to help you correct your perspective of how you see the world, offer you alternatives, break free from anything that might be holding you back. And the good news is you don't have to take my word for it. It's just $4 for the first 30 days. So $3.99 if you want to give it a try. Come on down to serioussjoy.com and sign up, and you'll see for yourself how damn spooky accurate I am. It's almost like I'm just appearing over your shoulder like this crazy image and talking to you specifically. So seriousjoy.com. And by the way, if you don't know, Devon is on seriousjoy.com with me. And so maybe it's time to hand to Devon and let's shoot some shift.
Yes. Oh, this is such a fun part of the show. Shoot the shift. We started it last week. We love connecting with you guys. So please put your questions in the chat. Tell us what's been going on with you. What's the energy been like? And if you're watching this later, please put the comments below. We do go check the chat afterwards, the comments afterwards, to hear what's going on with you guys. Because this is the whole point, is we're all in this together, right? So anybody here on the panel tonight seen any questions pop up that you want to answer off the top? Scott, I know you're good at watching comments.
Yeah, I just saw someone saying that no, Biden's not like Trump. I was not trying to say Trump or Biden's better than each other. Just saying two sides of the same coin. Not so great choices. That was a point I was trying to make. And so, yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there about that.
Okay. Watch out. We'll say, Scott. I mean, we tend to not go political, but I do feel like I'll just say psychically that there's more in store. That's what I can feel. So I feel like, if you all want us to talk in that direction, it'll be later in the year, not now.
Exactly.
Things are going to change. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I do see a question from Kristen Carbone about solar flares. Have you guys been feeling that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone keeps telling me it's the solar flares that's happening. I mean, the energy is so crazy, but we've certainly had tech issues, like a lot of tech issues. I mean, just look, I'm coming in out of reality right now.
Well, Mercury just went out of shadow today too, though. I mean, Mercury's, just today came out of shadow. So we've also had that going on.
I feel we're switching. So what do you all feel about timelines? Do you feel that that we manifest or that we have timelines?
I'll hop into that one real quick. Yeah,
I'm real curious because I swear to goddess, I've had glitches in the Matrix where I saw the cat move in front of me twice.
Right.
Shit like that.
But the thing is, I want to say to you, Christopher, if we didn't have timelines, how would astrology be valid and legit, right? And how would we be able to predict if we didn't have timelines, if we were creating everything on the fly? So I think it's a mixture of both. I think we have a general timeline that we're following, and so we get to alter along the way. And I think we talked about this last week. If you had reached a karmic lesson that you've achieved in this lifetime, I think you have more flexibility to create a different timeline or change a destiny path. So I think we come with a path and a destiny, and we can alter along the way based on our evolution.
You don't feel like, do you don't feel like we have multiple choice? So we set up a variety of like choose your own adventure as you go kind of thing?
I don't think we're that flaky before incarnating. I think we're pretty determined. Like, this is my path, this is my mission while incarnating, and we give ourselves flexibility. So I think we're pretty determined prior to incarnating. In my perspective, I believe that.
Not me. I bring a coat, galoshes. I bring I had the option to turn into a dinosaur at age 54.
Yeah,
but Christopher, this is coming from an Aquarius, so no. But I think like if we didn't come with a pre-planned a path, then how can we predict? How can we, how can astrology be laying things out and all these other things? So I think there's an undercurrent of something that we have a path on, and we can adjust in along the way. I feel like.
Okay, Devon, we have a question here that came up. I'm going to interrupt because it's good. It's people are jumpy about June 6th. Are there any thoughts about June 6th? I'm going to look at the planets there for June 6th. What's going on June 6th? You guys just drop that bomb and don't tell us what it is?
Isn't that like from there's a past event of June 6th? Is that she talking about this, a past event? Not so much current event?
I don't know. I'm not sure what they're referring to. You have to come back in.
Wasn't that the White House thing in June 6th?
No, January. That was January.
Yeah, that was
January 6th?
Yeah. Oh, January 6th? We're not talking about that.
June 6th. Well, it's the 157th day of the year, they say.
Yeah. No. Well, I'll tell you this. I mean,
when Jupiter goes into Gemini. When does Jupiter go into Gemini?
It goes in May.
25th.
May 25th.
I'll tell you, the first week of June, though, astrologically, I don't know if you all pick up on this. So here's what I pick up psychically. We're not getting a lot of questions in our chat today. Oh, it's my friend's birthday. Oh, really? We're asking about your... No, I'm kidding. It's like someone's friend's birthday. I was like... it looks like... So we manifest like a mofo this weekend into this weekend, and we law of attract this, I think, some opportunity. I think for some people it'll be a surprise. Then Jupiter moves into Gemini, and the Sun and Venus are actually conjunct for an entire week, which I call basically the summer of love. So June 6th is right around when we're going to have the Sun and Venus conjoining, which means I believe people are going to fall in love with a new idea they have in themselves, like a real refresh perspective of seeing ourselves in a way we never have. So, just in that concert of astrology, what do you all pick up on in your superpowers?
I think they're talking about June 5th, the projected earthquake. I think that's what they're asking.
Oh, really? Someone predicted an earthquake down to the day?
June 5th or June 6th. Yeah, I think that's what they're asking about. So I'll read it more. I don't know much, so I'll read it both. And that's at retrospect, and I'll read it kind of just energetically. Intuitively, I feel there would be like a shaking up in that sense. So it's possible there might be some sort of an earthquake that at that time. I don't really sense where, so I don't know if it's really in the stars on the 6th. So I feel like there would be a shaking up of things around that time in our climate, and geographically in a sense. So it's possible there might be an earthquake in that time. I think energetically, as far as like our own evolution, in a sense, I think there's gonna be a lot of, like you were saying, Christopher, a new idea coming to the table. And I think the shaking up energy, both literally and figuratively, will be present around that time too. So those who are entering in the June aspect, to be a lot of, I would say, explosions. So I think that might be indicative in our environment and with the weather and so forth, but also in your own personal lives as well, and spiritual evolution. That things might kind of burst into action too. I think we've done a lot of movement in May for June to be like a bursting of a realization, a bursting of manifestation. So that might be both figuratively and also literally. Angel, what did Devon say? Or angels. I did it
Well,
again.
I actually
Angels.
wanted to
Yeah, there
address
you go.
another question because it might
I
play
don't know,
into
Chris.
it.
I don't know, Chris. Yeah.
No, Devon, I keep calling you Angel. I said angels. What a Devon thing. I keep
Oh, she's
saying
far
that,
from an
but
angel.
she's
Okay,
an
go ahead.
angel.
Well, I see Judith Pastor asked the question, and I saw this article. In fact, my husband sent it to me. What do you think about the northern lights that were seen in Long Island, New York? We also had a bunch of northern lights witnessed in Texas, North Texas, Oklahoma area a couple nights ago. And, it is interesting the way people are looking up at the sky more. So, Scott, I mean, this could all be playing into what you're picking up as well. Just this idea that we're tuning in to what are we being shown, what's behind the scenes, So for me personally, when I pick up on the energy of June 6th, it's going to be this feeling of something's about to be revealed. And there's been little drops of things being revealed up to this point. And I mean, that speaks to Jupiter going to Gemini and eventually Uranus next year, right? Christopher?
Yeah, totally. I mean, someone's saying that Pearl Harbor's anniversary. Pearl Harbor was in Sagittarius in December, by the way. So it might have been June 6th. Might be actually the anniversary of landing on the first launch of the troops.
D-Day in there, yeah.
Yeah, when we first landed.
D-Day.
What was the beach we landed up on? I honestly, I mean, just speaking of the summer, I'm glad. Here's what I feel for the whole year. Let's just I feel like we ramp up. I think we fall in love and go down a rabbit hole during the summer. So I feel like the summer just goes by in a blur. You guys remember Greece? Like this summer is like when Danny and Sandy met each other. That's what this summer is.
Wow.
right. Like their final summer before their senior year. It's like that. That's what the energy feels like. And then September, tune in to find out. Not good. What do you all feel?
Chris, how are you doing well, Chris?
Yeah, I think that
pull a card, Scott.
Yes, my name is
for
Scott.
This job,
Thank
will
you. Yeah, my name is Scott, and I think that I don't feel an earthquake or anything. By the way, I think that there could be the shakeup could be like a new perspective that we are getting from like the world. And I definitely feel that, once we get past the summer, there's craziness, and this could bring in other new perspectives. We even have the King of Swords. We have all swords cards here. So definitely that Gemini energy coming out. I will think of the Two of Swords as kind of like a third place solution. So I encourage people to embrace third place solutions. Everybody thinks this or that, this side, that side. But can you use your knowledge and your wisdom, the things that you've learned, put them into practice to come up with like a better way to do anything in your life? That's like what I would be focusing on right here. Third place solutions. That's it.
Angel?
Yeah, well.
Look at her. She was trained. She's already been trained. We programmed her.
She's been
honestly,
hacked.
I don't pick up on the Grease energy, although I love that movie. I wanted to love Olivia.
Oh, Olivia was so hot in that final scene.
Oh my gosh. But I feel it's more people are going to be stepping away from relationships because they're falling in love with their mission and what they love. And people are going to be waking up to the way they've put what their heart wants on the sideline. So it's going to be that bittersweet moment in Greece when Sandy realizes John Travolta's kind of a jerk to her. When, at the beginning
that's September.
Yeah.
When she closes the door on his thing.
Football season starts and it's like, whoa, who was I in love with? But I do think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to meet people here. There's going to be a lot of opportunities to get out there and find your tribe. So definitely get out there, use this energy of this summer to meet other people and try new things, get curious. Like Chris Reck said at the beginning.
Get curious. Scott?
Well,
will Danny meet Sandy this summer?
It depends on your sign. It's kind of what I was saying before too, and I think everyone's been having a lot of dreams, like vivid dreams lately too, and very kind of strange dreams. Pay attention to that now, because when you start having vivid dreams like that, it really is showing to you where you're going, that there is actually a navigation that needs to take place, and you're actually directing yourself moving forward. And I'm saying this because, like I said before, about this like kind of breakthrough and this shaking up of things in June. I think it's going to be where, again, whether or not you are on the right path, you go on the right path, or you realize that you're on the wrong path, you make that shift. But it feels very positive to me. It feels very grandeur in that sense moving forward, personally in our personal lives. different when it comes to the economy and different when it comes to the collective in that sense. But, on our personal lives, I think we'll feel that kind of breakthrough, that realization in that sense. And like breaking down of things that have been unnecessary, like finally getting that into fruition. So I really do feel that for this year. And I think we've been preparing ourselves, for that. It's been pushing us forward in May. June, it kind of blows up in our faces in a good way. And I think we get to experience and enjoy that toward the end of this year. And then, of course, things change again. And we'll tap into that in the future. What changes at that point?
Well, I have a follow-up question that came from someone named Carolyn in the chat. Will there be another world event like COVID, something that shuts down the world? Psychic Posse, this is a good one to sort of wrap up the show with. Something a lot of people have asked me actually in private readings about this. Like, should they move to Russia? Should they buy a bunker? like Zuckerberg is doing and all the millionaires are doing? Like, is there something they're missing? Is the ship sinking? Who wants to go first?
I will.
Scott will go first, or Devon can go. Angel can go first.
Okay. Who are you?
A lot, so I don't want to step on. Wait, what's her name?
Because he holds the card.
Mama, who am I? Mama.
They are going to try very hard to do another COVID shutdown. This is why this summer is going to be so important to empower yourself, to use those intuitive abilities to check in. It's going to be a lot harder for them to do this time. Like we've all seen, people are waking up to this stuff. People are not like we talked about the Baltimore Bridge a few weeks ago, right, guys?
Right.
I mean, it was like people were like, this doesn't seem right. What are you getting, Chris Reck?
Yeah, I think they're going to try again, of course, but I think we're going to be fine. So I think that people need to stay strong, stand up for themselves, follow the rules of strength. But yeah, I'm not so sure that anything is really going to ever kick in, like not like COVID again is what I would say. So
never again.
Yeah. So Chris Cruz, we'll go to you.
Excuse me, it's Scott Reck. Thank you. So no, I feel the same thing. I feel an attempt. I don't feel a success of that. I do see a huge, push with cybersecurity for some reason and tech security. I think that will be a next issue for the masses and, protecting when it comes to power and all that stuff. So if it's going to be a massive issue, it would be something in that vein. I think they've kind of exhausted, the kind of viral aspect. It's going to be more, I would say, when it comes to tech, electrical stuff. I think there's going to be a hit on that in the next 3 to 4 years. So I think we'll survive it, but I think that would be the next thing close to a pandemic in a sense. But nothing like COVID in that sense. I don't feel that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of story and fear mongering about like worst case scenarios that can happen and, power grid and stuff like that. But whenever I check with my guides, I feel like no. And I feel like it's because the collective doesn't want that.
No.
And I think what has to happen, I think the reason why we have propaganda and we have programming on television and all this other stuff is because whoever's at the top, whoever the F that is, they know that we all create our reality. And so they're trying to talk us into creating a doomsday reality. And none of us really care for that, I feel like. So what I feel psychically is there's a lot of attempts to talk us into mismanifesting, but I feel like they're going to fail. I will say this, though. I do psychically feel like there's some huge hella surprise coming.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it is. I know that sounds generic, but I mean like land on the moon, like something very significant distraction that just gets people racing in a direction and sort of shifts the narrative. So I feel like the narrative will be hijacked by something. I don't know what it will be.
That always happens. That always happens, though. That's just very typical and common, But I just think more about cybersecurity, like I said before, is going to be like a next threat. But I don't see like us being kind of affected by it, like you were saying, Christopher. I don't feel that. I think, like you said, the collective is on board with kind of like wanting more and seeing through things. And I think the past 5 years have been a great eye opener for a lot of people when it comes to their discernment. So I think that's been helping with the collective as well. But to me, that's just part of our evolution that we're destined to experience anyway. That's why it's all planned in this. You can see it in the astrological realms. So I think we're on a great path of more freedom in a sense. As much as we see that opposition, I'm actually more optimistic about how we're evolving, how things are going to happen. Less doomsday, in my opinion.
I didn't sign up for doomsday. I would have sat that lifetime out. I know myself in heaven. I would have sat that lifetime out. Like, would you like this tour here where Earth goes down in flames and you starve to death slowly? Pass. I wouldn't have incarnated. That's how I know it's going to be okay. I know me. I would not incarnate in that. I would just pass. I'd go to Jupiter.
That's
What's
the next
that?
big thing. The aliens are coming. That's the next big thing.
Well, I actually do feel that that's the
Thanks,
case.
producers.
Honestly, I have felt a lot of alien energy, and we're running out of time, so this might be a tease to next week's show.
Mm-hmm.
But for the first time, I feel I have met an alien who has sort of winked at me with his third eyelid, and yes. And I feel like I'm starting to feel more alien presence than I ever had before. Also, I want to affirm my clients are talking about crazy dream life going off right now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Crazy
saying.
dreams life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever since Neptune hit 29. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you guys might even a lot of deja vu moments too, where you're kind of feeling the past, present, future at the same time. Like there's a lot of deja vu moments going on
I've
too.
been having that, and other people I know too. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I meant about the matrix flickering. Like I've had a couple
Mm.
moments where I came back to something and it's sort of like, what do you call it? The Mandela effect. I'm having Mandela effect with my own life.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Where I'm like, wait, I
Mine
thought
too.
that was at this. And it's like, no, it's at that. It's always been at that. I'm like, no, it hasn't always been at that. It's been at this. And people are like, no, you're crazy. It's been at that. But I've had those moments with small, insignificant stuff, which seem like a glitz in the matrix, you know?
How old are you again?
Too old.
That
You're
might
psychic,
be the reason. I'm
Yach.
kidding. I'm kidding. Well, next week we should talk about
My
dreams.
Neuralink is fucking up.
I agree,
Exactly.
Scott. I like Scott's idea. Let's talk
Is
about
what?
dreams next week.
Let's do dreams
Premonition
next week.
dreams.
Yeah. We'll
Let
do
us know in the
dreams.
comments if you guys have had premonition dreams, because this is huge.
Yeah.
This is a huge
Yeah.
thing that's going to reveal what's coming up for us.
We're also not going to be here next week, so
Yeah.
I thought
So
it was Memorial Day.
not next week.
The next week we're on.
after
Yeah, the
Memorial
next-
Day.
Yeah, after Memorial
Yes.
Day. Yeah.
Yeah. So we might have a little special in place of us rolling next week, some extra footage that we shot. Speaking of aliens, it might be that, or it might be something else. We're just going to stay elusive like that and not tell you. But we'll be back live in 2 weeks, or you might see us at Unite the Light this weekend,
Mhm.
where you can maybe get a selfie with all four of us. In fact, if you're watching, that might be something to go for right now. We need like a special code word. You come up to us, you get a selfie with all four. I wonder if we can bring all four together, maybe for one. But that is at unitethelight.love. We'd love to see you guys who are there in person in Austin, Texas, or watch us in the stream, and we'll wave to you and say hello as well. All right, friends, I think we've come to our full top of the hour. We will have a dream special in 2 weeks. We will have some sort of an interesting repeat in a week that we figure out. Not a repeat, but something out of our vault. And until then, we're just so grateful to be of spiritual service. If you would like to advertise on this show, send us an email at advertise@leadingoutloud.com. And remember, folks, don't put up with a shift show in your life. Lead out loud. Until next week, we love you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye, guys.